All right, I know we just talked about this, and you did not see the incredible Darren Rizzi face, which I've got up right there. But the best thing, this is not the best thing I saw this week, but it's the funniest thing. After the game in the press conference, he goes, look, I want to be honest with the players. I'm an honest guy, and so I'm going to be honest with you guys, too. He's like, this morning didn't start off too hot. I was going to the restroom, and I clogged the coach's toilet this morning. And he goes, I thought that was an omen of things to come, and it was going to be a really shitty day. I turned out to be wrong. Darren Rizzi gets his first win ever as a head coach. Young Hoku really gave them that game.
Missed what, 3 times?
3 times. Young Hoku. Antonio Brown's favorite player. Hey, but how has Darren Rizzi never been talked about, or he's going to be all over Barstool, guaranteed this week?
I think they were talking about the crazy faces he was making. It's kind of weird to just go from I guess the special teams coordinator being the head coach, but
I mean,
whatever. I guess you just go. He's been around the block, and I don't know. Seemed like they were having fun, won the game, playing hard. So
yeah, I
think they hate Dennis Allen. So.
They hate Dennis Allen, dude. You know what? The Kansas City Chiefs are turning into the Golden State Warriors of the NFL. Did you see Mahomes running around yesterday after they won?
No,
you didn't see it.
No, I mean, I was driving to Bernie, as you know, and not Bernie, but just south of Bernie, and on the way there, I saw that they got it down to the 15, and I was like, well, yeah, I mean, rightfully so. Everybody does that in the NFL.
I know. I'm saying they took a knee. It was over.
Took a knee. It was over.
It was over.
Kicking the field goal, and it got blocked. Yeah, I don't know what. I don't know how the Chiefs keep doing it, but they keep winning games. How long was the field? It's 35 yards.
31.
Right? Yeah. 31.
31
yards.
And,
dude, it looked like a field goal could have been blocked by multiple guys, too.
It 100% could have been blocked by multiple guys. They all got through the line somehow.
Yeah.
Hold on. Just watch real quick. Watch Mahomes run around after they block the field goal.
Dude, he likes winning. He's a winner.
Dude, hold on. Just watch this. It's so annoying.
All right, here we go.
All right.
35 yards.
Oh, I'm wrong. I thought it was 31, 35.
Man, yeah. I mean, what happened? It's been a long time since I've seen it. Almost looks like they
Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Dude, he's running around like a third-grade girl who just found out she got tickets to a Zach Bryan concert. This is a man who's won 3 Super Bowl MVPs, and they're playing the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix at home, and he's running around out there like a 7-year-old. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Look at this.
I will say
he got outplayed by Bo Nix at home, and he's out there acting like that. That is embarrassing.
I will say the first. So the funny thing about that is going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he was running out there celebrating with the guys that blocked it.
Then wasn't.
But then at the end, he literally is holding his head like he can't believe it, like they won the Super Bowl. It's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. That is actually the most embarrassing, cringiest thing I've seen in a long time.
Oh, please.
No, that is one of the cringiest.
Bo Nix is a hell of a quarterback.
Dude, imagine the Broncos. They would have been
6-4.
6-4 instead they're 5-5. This was in Kansas City. What a win this would have been for them.
Yep.
I mean, dear Lord, what a swing of the season.
Really should have won the game.
Is the game? I know the Chiefs play the Bills this week. Is it in Buffalo? Or is it in Kansas City? I mean, every tough game they have is at home, so I'm assuming it's in Kansas City. But
no, that game's in Buffalo.
Okay, good.
And the only reason I know that is because Dan Patrick at the beginning of the year, they were laughing about them making sure Taylor Swift could be at every single Chiefs game because it's good for the camera. And she has, I think if you look it up, she has concerts in Toronto. Right across,
of course she does.
Yeah, right across the border.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, and Dan Patrick's like, I don't think that's a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence at all.
The schedule came out, and Taylor Swift has a concert that the day, so she can actually play, and then she can get to the game, and then go back to her concert.
Who
and I was like,
cares?
Apparently, the NFL they think it. I don't know.
What's the line? What's the line on that game? I'm just asking. What's the line on that game? You think?
In
Buffalo, Kansas City, in Buffalo.
Buffalo by 2.
Yeah, I would say 2 or 3. I mean,
yeah. Buffalo's been playing far better than the Chiefs.
Which is
those two teams.
Winning, those two teams on a neutral field are probably close to a pick 'em. So I'm just guessing in Buffalo you get 2.
I wouldn't. Yeah,
I would say 3. I would say they're gonna get a full 3.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if they'll get a full 3, but
maybe 2.5.
I'll say 2.
Maybe 2.5. Anyway, yeah, crazy week in in the NFL, college football, we had some big upsets. We're going to go over all that stuff here. Make sure.
And I want to make sure. I know you're going to say subscribe and follow, but you before you say all that stuff, you basically, I think you owe Mike Tomlin an apology.
Get the f*** out
You've been saying for weeks, Bailey's been saying for weeks, oh, there's no way they have a winning record. Well, they're 7-2 now.
You know, they're on my ugly this week, too.
Oh, God, of course.
Russell Wilson was 14 of 28.
And they still won.
And they won. Yeah, no, I mean, like, literally, they're the most inefficient team I've ever seen. They just keep winning. They somehow,
just win, baby.
The Commanders, they dropped they dropped a punt return. They couldn't get in field goal range. Zach Ertz comes up short by an inch. He had the first down and then comes back to the ball, and it's short on the final drive on fourth down. Just everything goes their way. It's the Steelers.
Yep.
And look, I told Ryan this because in our fantasy football league, I'm not going to go into explaining the nuances of our boring dynasty fantasy football league to the viewers, but it's a dynasty league, right? So we drafted everybody at once, and then we only pick rookies, right? And we keep our teams forever. Yeah. Everybody's a keeper. So I had this. I was 5-4 going into this week, and I said, hey, I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers of this league.
You are.
I have the least points of anybody. I'm somehow 5-4 tied for, and if I had just started regular guys this week, even trading away my entire team, I would have won. If I start Stafford tonight instead of bye week Jameis Winston, I win.
I don't think you can start by
100% I can. I got 3 free empty spots that I cannot get fined for 100%. I can start an empty spot for 3.
Wow, that's some chicken shit stuff.
I should have done it for you. I told you I wanted to do it, and I didn't do it. I can't. Dude, Will scored 50 points this week. I win if I start Stafford.
I saw that. That was the worst game, probably the worst game ever played.
Yeah, and I was purposely trying to lose.
It was like 64-50.
I started Cooper Rush, who has 2 points. He's my only other starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Negative 2 points. Anyway,
we got -2.
But I punted my whole team because I was the Pittsburgh Steelers of the league, knowing even at 5-4, I had 0 shot to win the whole championship.
Yeah, but you know what? Your team is led by a great coach, just like Mike Tomlin. You should have had faith in yourself and the team.
I like that he called me a great coach. I am a great coach, great GM, great owner, great power forward.
Just can't get done in the playoffs.
Just like Jackie Moon. Yeah. Okay, hold on. I won the first year in 2006. Okay, and I've been to the playoffs every year since.
He sounds like University of Tennessee talking about 98.
Back in Nam.
That is the year, right? Bailey, was it 98 that they always talk about with Manning? Or
they won the year after he left. T. Martin.
That's right.
They didn't win with Peyton Manning.
I just know they say feels like 98, and I think that's what it is.
He did or didn't win the Heisman, Peyton Manning. I can't. That's right. They gave it to Ryan Leaf. Yeah, that's a joke.
Ryan Leaf was a great player. Yep.
Oh yeah, real well deserved. Funny real quick, because we were talking before that. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe. Okay. Also, we had a new kind of show we're trying to do every Wednesday night and post it by Thursday morning, where it's a college football kind of recap of the rankings that come out on Tuesdays. That the new college football playoff rankings will come out Tuesday night. We'll talk about them Wednesday. And then we'll break down all the biggest games in college football. And so we're trying to do that weekly for you guys because we don't really get to do a bunch of breakdowns and previews on this show because we're doing a lot of recap and other fun segments. So make sure if you're new to the channel, obviously subscribe, obviously like this video. Commenting is really important for us. We got a ton of views on our last video. We had a special guest, Michelle, came on and talked college football with us, trying to get her to come back on. I know some of you like that a lot better than Big Dog as the guest, just saying. Also, if you're new to the channel, I haven't put anything on there yet, so you're not really getting anything yet. But go subscribe to our Patreon. I'll put a little thing that'll flash across the screen right now, and I'll put it in the description below. Right now, all I have it as is $5 a month. It's nothing. It's $5 a month. It keeps the show ad-free. It helps support the podcast. Okay, we don't make any money off this show right now. So as we're trying to find sponsors, we're trying to keep it ad-free, especially with all the damn ads on YouTube. It's really annoying to watch an hour-and-a-half video and have multiple ads come up. So help us keep this ad-free. Support the show. It helps us get better guests on. It helps us get better equipment around here. $5 a month is nothing. We're going to have different level tiers, but what it will do is it'll provide you behind-the-scenes content of Big Dog. It'll give you our free extra picks of the week, our props of the week, all that type of stuff. It's going to have a lot of stuff on there. Right now, full disclosure, there's nothing on there, but there will be new stuff this week for the first time. Please go subscribe to that and support the channel. If you want to make a one-time donation, reach out to me, and I'll give you my Venmo. Also,
Big Dog, I'll tell you this.
Check out the Pick'em show as well. I think we're doing a Pick'em show. I don't know. Go ahead. Big Dog. You tell me what about Big Dog?
No, he's worth $5 a month.
If we're putting the full disclose,
just alone. I mean, if you just hear his conversation with Bailey today, I'm sure it would be worth $5.
Wait, I missed this. What happened?
No. I'm just saying.
You're saying in general? Okay, yeah. Okay, this has never happened before in the history of football. Okay, and we're gonna move on to our Rookie of the Week here in a second, but history may be made tonight if you didn't see this. Florida, the state of Florida, has never in a single weekend in combined FBS college football, FCS college football, and the NFL finished winless. And going into tonight, teams are a combined 0-11 this weekend for Florida. Okay? FBS, FAU, Miami, Florida, Florida State, South Florida, and Central Florida all lost. For FCS, Florida A&M, Bethune, and Stetson all lost. And then in the NFL, the Jaguars and Bucks both gave away games late. The only one that can save them tonight is the Miami Dolphins against the Rams. So for the first time in the history of football and the history of sports, Miami could be 0-for on a weekend if Miami loses tonight, or Florida could be 0-for on a weekend if Miami loses
That's
tonight.
hard to do.
Hard to do in a state. 0-for-12.
Yeah, that's pretty insane, actually.
Brookie of the Week. What's your Brookie of the Week here?
My Brookie of the Week, Sober Lane Kiffin. I mean, what a win. What a win against the Dogs this week. Probably the funniest part of that whole game was the pregame interview with him, and I forgot who it was doing the deal. And it's like, Lane, you're without your best receiver, and it's raining, and what the hell is going to happen here? He goes, well, you sure are positive. Like, hey, maybe you should have got the guys ready to go. He's like, no, we got a good football team. I think we're going to, whatever. But he's like, she's acting like the bad news bear over there, like the game was already over before it started. And it honestly kind of looked like that, but they went down 7-0 right away, and Dart got hurt. You're like, oh, this is going to get ugly quick. And then the backup quarterback led a fantastic drive down the field, scored, and then kind of the rest is history. Ole Miss dominated that game from start to finish. So
what was the final score? It was like 28-10, right?
I'm not sure on the
final.
It was.
They beat them by 3 scores.
Yeah, but it was a dominating performance. Ole Miss's run D is great.
You got to hand it to that backup Austin Simmons, who came into the game cold. He was a freshman from Miami, and basically hadn't played in a serious game in his career, and he comes in as a true freshman against Georgia, and on that drive, he went 5 of 6 for 64 yards, and they scored a touchdown. That flipped the whole game. That energy in that stadium, like you said, it was dead. Jackson Dart looked like he was done. He was walking to the locker room, like freaking out, like angry. Yep. It was a bad deal.
And Lane, I think coming into this was what? I don't know the stat. Maybe have it over there. Like, he was 0-for against top 5 teams all time.
At Ole Miss, he was 0-4 against top 5 teams. In his career, I looked it up. He was actually against AP top 5 teams. He was 2-15 heading into that game, but he was 0-4 in the SEC. He had never beaten an SEC top 5, and he had never won at Ole Miss.
Yeah, so big win. And then you would expect them to be able to get through their next 2 games and probably sneak into the playoffs. I think they're going to get in. So
if they win their next 2, they're in.
Yeah, I would think so.
They also, they technically, looking at this, I don't think they will, because I don't know how the tiebreakers work and all that deal. But there could be a huge cluster here if we'll get into this later. But Ole Miss could still get in the SEC championship game. I'll just put it that way.
I think it'll obviously take a lot, because I remember them showing the percentages, and they weren't in even like the top 5, I think, after that win, which is bizarre. Right. But anyway.
Yep. My Brookie of the Week is going to go to Haynes King. Okay? My boy, I've liked him for a long time, even though he was a former Aggie. The kid literally could not throw the ball. He had a shoulder injury to his throwing shoulder. He could not throw the ball. I think they asked him to throw a couple screen passes during the game.
Yeah, some short little.
Right. But when it was literally when it was 3rd and 10, they were pulling him out of the game and putting the backup in to throw the ball, because he could not throw it downfield because his shoulder was so hurt. But he played in the game against Miami, right? Against a top 5 team in the country, undefeated Miami Hurricanes, led by the Heisman favorite going into the game, Cam Ward. And what happened? Haynes King ran it 20 times on that bum shoulder, took hit after hit for 92 yards. He threw a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown. He gutted it out against this top 5 team. And for the 2nd straight season, Haynes got the dub against the Canes, and he led Georgia Tech to a massive upset, 28-23 over number 4 Miami. Never forget the first time Haynes beat the Hurricanes, which was back last year when Mario Cristobal decided not to take a knee. This is the 2nd time in 2 years. that Haynes King, Brent Key, and the Yellow Jackets spoiled the Miami Hurricanes' undefeated season. If you remember last year, that game, they were undefeated in that game going in. So Georgia Tech is the kryptonite of Mario Cristobal. Not as much as taking a knee is, but that is a bad loss for Miami. They plummeted in the AP ranking out of the top 12. They would not be in the playoff according to the AP poll right now unless they won the ACC championship. But it was one of the grittiest, gutsiest, ballsiest performance I've seen in a long time.
What were his final throwing stats? Did you give him just a second ago? Because I was
who, Haynes King?
Yeah, because
it was
at one point he was like 4 for 4 for like 14 yards. It was something funny like that. I don't know if he hadn't thrown an incompletion.
He finished the game 6 of 6 for 32 yards and a touchdown.
I love it.
With the longest pass being 11 yards, and it was a screen pass. I mean, he couldn't throw the ball downfield.
Yeah, what a player.
Yeah, what a player. 200 passer rating, just saying. Unbelievable. No, that was really a gutsy performance for him to play in that game. Yeah. Haynes 2, Mario 0.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
Down go the Kings. Haynes King is better than Cam Ward, just saying. Cam Ward goes down, and I love it. Best thing you saw this week.
That defense is just so bad for
them. They're horrible.
They knew they were running and just couldn't stop it.
No, it's horrible.
Best thing I saw this week was kind of like the funniest, and I feel bad for the poor kid, but it was the best thing I saw this week was Mark Few's son getting in trash time after. Now, keep in mind, they were beating Baylor by
42.
Yeah, they were beating Baylor by 6 touchdowns at that point. But Mark Few's son comes in and gets absolutely. Dylan will post a clip. I don't think it's going to matter copyrights, but gets absolutely posterized by a dunk. And of course, Baylor down 42. They're still going wild, which is just absurd as well. But it was the best thing I saw this week. It's like, you could just see it coming from a mile away too. I was like, oh no, get out of the way, dude. What are you doing? You're up 42. And this guy put his nuts on this kid's forehead. It was bad. And I have a feeling that Mark Few's kid, I might take Dylan to beat him at a retirement one-on-one. I think it would be close. But right. Dylan would at least have the sense to get off the fucking tracks when the train's coming.
I would not have taken that.
Hell no. Just bail out of there.
I would have bailed out of there way earlier. Or I would have taken his legs out. That's what I would have done.
Yeah. Submarine him. I like that too.
That's right. Damn straight. You ain't getting a dunk on me.
Submarine him.
But I definitely would not have let him dunk on me. That's for sure. Yeah. It actually was hilarious in the post-game interview. They asked Mark Few, and obviously his son isn't in there. It was him and like 3 of the players because they're all together because it's one of those like preseason games.
Yeah.
And they ask about it, and the 3 players in there, like their star players at Gonzaga, they're just putting their heads down and just like and laugh. And Mark Few's he doesn't want to shit on his kids, so he gives like a dead serious answer, and they're dying laughing. He's like, I was just proud of him for hanging in there and trying to take a charge. Yeah. And they're just like, oh, this is embarrassing. This is so bad. Like, why you do that to your son, man? That's brutal.
It was pretty damn funny.
Okay, best thing I saw this week. I don't know if you saw this, but it actually went a long way for us because we in our Survivor League we needed the Vikings, which thank God we did take the Vikings. And we needed them to beat Mac Jones and the Jags, and it was not looking great for a large portion of the game. Regardless,
the Vikings had that game won all the way.
Oh yeah, sure they did.
All the way.
Sure
they were never losing.
They were. They were losing. They were losing the entire first half.
They were never gonna lose. Especially with Trevor not there. If Trevor was there, they lose.
Well, I'll tell you what. You were confident. I was not. I hedged, and they had the ball. The Jags had a 1st and 10 on the Minnesota 43-yard line with a minute 50 to go. And on that play, Mac Jones took a shot to the end zone, and Cameron Bynum, the safety for the Minnesota Vikings, picked him off. And the celebration that ensued was the best celebration I've seen all season.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. He
had the entire choreographed the Australian breakdancer who everybody made fun of, and he had the entire thing choreographed, like went through like every breakdance move, and like it just when you thought it was over, another one was coming. It was classic. It was so good. He's been waiting to pull that for a long time, and Cameron Bynum, he not only saved our Survivor League and saved the Vikings a win there, he also is my best thing I saw this week.
That was pretty damn funny.
That was great. The other thing, and this is a good segue, the other thing I was going to say was the best thing I saw this week, because I think this is funny, and it's also comical. It's more comical and like how stupid it is, was the Dallas Cowboys obviously were shit on yesterday, and we're going to talk about them right now. But there was a play in the end zone, and this is nothing new, right? If you're a Cowboys fan, if you're an NFL watcher, Dallas Cowboys have a stadium issue where Jerry Jones built the stadium where the sun comes in to the stadium, and we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and it literally blinds guys, from making plays. And it's pretty funny because it tends to literally affect the Cowboys more than the opponent. Like almost every game, I feel like that if it is a factor, it's only with Dallas. And so in the end zone, Dallas was never winning this game. However, it was funny, right? Like, so they had a 1st and goal, and Zeke was running in to score to actually take the lead late, like in the middle of the second quarter. He fumbled out of the back of the end zone. Then a couple drives later, right? Like let's say Zeke scores there and they take the lead. A couple drives later, CeeDee Lamb's wide open in the end zone, and Cooper Rush throws it to him, and CeeDee just like runs by the ball, and everybody's like, what the heck happened? And he's like, I couldn't see the ball. And so, it's just become this comical thing where Jerry Jones, you thought he screwed the Cowboys this offseason by signing Dak Prescott to a $60 million deal, or not adding anybody on the defense and having them being the 6th lowest paid defense in the NFL, or letting us have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL and drafting a guy late in the first round as our starting left tackle who can't, plays Ole every time they snap the ball. He doesn't, it's not just that. It's not just as the worst GM ever. He also had the audacity to, that they have shades there, that they have the ability to cover that light, and he chooses not to do it. They do it for concerts.
Well, my thing with, I don't know how long it takes, but if I was the Cowboys, I'd just use, is it on both? It's only on one side, right? Or is it on both sides?
It's only on, I don't know if it's on, I don't know if it's on both sides, but I mean, it wouldn't matter because the sun's only coming from one direction.
Well, yeah, that's a great point.
I'm just saying.
That's a fantastic point. But that you got me there. It's like, are they both sides? It doesn't matter because the sun's only setting in one direction. That's fucking hysterical.
That's a short
but
right
yeah,
there.
No, for sure. It's like, oh yeah, well, the sun actually only sets in the that's funny. Yeah, I don't understand why they.
But you're saying, I think you were getting at is opening it one and then closing it when the other, like, yeah, so it only benefits you.
If it was only benefiting you one way, you know who also had that, which is obviously not Cowboy Stadium. It's a much smaller venue than that. But for whatever reason, I remember watching college basketball, and Villanova had
their home
stadium where the sun sets. And it comes through this window, and it like you couldn't see. And they're like, "Dude, put a curtain up there." And they would always fight about putting a curtain up in that window.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But their home, tiny shitty gym when they're playing. They're not at the Wells Fargo or wherever they
Wells
play.
Fargo. Yeah. But what's fun? So after the game, they asked CD about it, and he's like, I couldn't see the ball. Like y'all could see when I said it right away. And then they were like, would you be like, what do you think? Like, would you be in favor of like putting up, curtains there? And he goes, I would be 1,000% in favor of that. And so they go ask Jerry Jones, and Jerry just loses it. He's like, why don't we just tear the whole stadium down and rebuild it then? Damn. Like, why don't we just go ahead and rebuild the whole stadium?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the dude is fucking delusional. I've used the F-bomb way too much already on this show, but I mean,
you got a lot of anger pinned up there.
No, I mean, look, here's the thing though. It's funny, and most Cowboys fans can probably relate to me because I was texting a couple buddies who are Cowboys fans. It's like, as we were going in to take the lead before Zeke fumbled, I really don't want us to win. Like, what happened was, before that was Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball, and Dallas got it, and it looked like, oh, Dallas is going to be in the game. They're going to score here, go up 10-7, and it's just the Eagles just aren't that great this year. And they're to be honest. To be frank, they've been very fortunate to win some of these games. And I was like, this is going to be a tight game, and I don't know that I want that, because if Dak's out for the year, who cares what we do? I just want to get the highest draft pick possible.
Oh, yeah, they just need to keep losing.
Carolina lost yesterday. I think there's 2 teams below the Cowboys in terms
Carolina
of
won.
Carolina won, so they have one more. They now have 3 wins. I think the Giants. I can't remember if the Giants have 2 or 3.
They're at 2.
Yeah, the Saints won yesterday. They're at 3. Yeah. So there's a lot of teams like that. You can, if you keep losing, that could happen. I don't even know that they're going to have to try to lose because this team without Dak Prescott, and this is according to my power rankings, and I looked it up to make sure that I was right and that other people have it, with Dak, if you downgrade them for Cooper Rush, they're the only team that they would be favored against in the NFL right now is the Carolina Panthers. That's the only team they would be favored against, and it would be a 1.5 point spread on a neutral field. So if that game was played in Carolina, they would be an underdog. They will be an underdog in every single game. I don't know what the line is on Houston next week, but it opened 6.5 before the game. If you watch Cooper Rush play that game, I don't care what CJ Stroud looks like, that line should be double digits. It should be. I gave out one straight bet yesterday on my website. It was the Eagles minus 7.5, and I think I'm down on the Eagles this year. It's pathetic. It is the most disgusting thing, and I don't have any anger watching the Cowboys because it's just funny, and I just want us to lose at this point. But I want to ask you a question here. This whole thing has become a shit show, right? Like last week, they get stomped in Atlanta. It was already bad, but then it went real downhill real quick. They get stomped in Atlanta. Dak tears his hamstring, and it's like, oh, he's going to be on IR for 4 weeks. And then they're like, no, never mind, he's out for the whole season. Jerry Jones decides, by the way, if you didn't see this, to go out and trade a 4th-round pick for a receiver.
I saw that, Mingo.
Yeah.
And then when you see the other receivers traded for like Hopkins was a fifth, right? Yeah. Hopkins was a 5th, and then Amari Cooper was a 4th.
I think it was a 4th, yeah.
Yeah.
And we went and got Jonathan Mingo for a 4th-round pick, who had played like 17 snaps for the Panthers this year. And
Jerry, dude, listen, Jerry's playing chess while all you people and pundits are playing checkers. You don't know what he's getting ready to do, okay? He's building for next season.
Is that what he's doing?
Yep. Jerry.
He's getting the NIL collective together for next year. God. Do you think here was my question is, and I don't want us to win, and we don't have to spend too much time on the Cowboys, but we got to talk about them for a second.
If not, big dog will.
Yeah.
Number one subject.
Got to talk about them.
You got to talk about the Cowboys. They spend hours talking about the Cowboys.
That's their only thing they talk about on those shows.
Yeah.
So when you find out Dak Prescott is going to miss the whole season, even if, let's say, even for sake of argument, he's going to miss 6 weeks, you're never making the playoffs, okay? You're never making the playoffs.
No.
So you went out, and keep in mind, not only did the Cowboys trade for Jonathan Mingo, in the offseason, Jerry Jones traded for Trey Lance and gave up a 4th-round pick in 2024 for a guy that nobody wanted anymore. Like, this is a guy that the 49ers are ready to dump. Nobody was going to pick him up. But you go out and trade a 4th-round pick for the guy. And you think if you trade a 4th-round pick for a young quarterback, he's going to be your backup, right? If not, you're going to keep him and develop him, right? Well, if Dak goes down, right? Okay, let's say for sake of argument, Dak goes down for 2 games, and you think Cooper Rush gives you a 20% better chance to win. That makes sense, right? Trying to make the playoffs, Cooper Rush starts the 2 games. Yeah, we could go to Lance, but Cooper Rush gives us a better chance to win 2 games. But when Dak's out for the season, or you have no shot to make the playoffs, in what world does it make any sense that they would start Cooper Rush yesterday and not Trey Lance? Why not see what you have? Do you agree?
No, 1,000% I agree. Yeah,
sense.
I said that I said it yesterday to Cowboys fans. Like, why are they? Anyway, I guess the philosophy is they're not giving up on the season, which is absurd, but they're not. So I think going into, you know what, I'd be actually pretty surprised if they don't start Trey Lance against the Texans. I think they ultimately will. And that might come from call from Jerry upstairs saying, hey, we suck, whatever. Let's see what we got in Trey Lance. Let's just start him. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. Because he at least brings, his legs into the conversation where, he could run around against the Texans. So I'm with you, though, especially with how the Texans lost this last game to the Lions. I expect them to just kill the Cowboys.
They should.
I'm looking ahead right now. It says 7.5. So
I'm shocked. That moved through the key number of 7, which for the NFL is a lot, and I get it. I'm shocked that's not 9. I think that will get better.
I nailed the Buffalo's 2.5. Yeah, we nailed
2.5. Yeah, we knew it was going to be that. So Cooper Rush in this game, this is like Bo Nix level.
Bo Nix almost won on the road yesterday.
Okay.
Show some respect.
Okay,
oh my God.
Cooper Rush, 13 of 23 for 45 yards, 2 yards per pass, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks.
You'll see them start Trey Lance this week. If they don't, I'll actually be shocked because there's, like you said, there's 0 reason not to. At this point, not that they ever had a chance, but I guess their thinking was, hey, if we somehow beat the Eagles this game and, we'll have a head-to-head win on them and whatever. So I'm not saying it's logical, but that's what they were thinking.
Sure.
So you'll see Trey Lance this week. I'd be shocked if not.
The funniest sequence of the game was in the third quarter. It was either late third or early fourth. They were down 25. I think it was 31-6, I believe, and something along those lines, right? And they decide that, they have 6 points. They have 2 field goals up to this point through 3 quarters, and Cooper Rush has like 30 yards passing. And they're like, okay, we're going to try. Like, even Tony Romo was like, oh, they think they should try. Actually, was it Tony? I can't remember if he was calling
I think
the game.
he said, yeah, it was. I think he said that they should try Lance.
He did.
Yeah.
And so they're like, and then Cooper Rush and Lance are both standing right there, and you don't know who's going to come out. So Lance actually runs out. And they're like, oh, there we go. We actually got Lance. And so the first play, they run it up the middle for 3 yards with Trey. The second play, there's a false start, and then they run it for like a loss of 1. So it goes, he played 2 plays, right? Now it's 3rd down and 11. They take him out and put in Cooper Rush for the 3rd and 11, like Haynes King, where he had injured, like Trey Lance is an invalid and can't throw the ball because Cooper Rush has been so infinitely better. Let's put him back. He'll convert the 3rd down, then we can put Trey back in to run, right? Like, yeah. Of course, he's got 43 yards fucking passing in the game, checking down on, and then he comes back into the game, Cooper Rush, and on 3rd and 11, he checks down for 1 yard. They get tackled and punt the ball. It was the funniest sequence of events I've ever seen. It's like, this is the Dallas Cowboys in a nutshell right here. Switching quarterbacks to get a first down 25 from your 3rd string to your backup to throw to check down for 1 yard and punt.
How's Big Dog holding up in the season? I mean, I know he puts on a brave face, but he's also listening to the radio. He's funny because he does it's like sadistic in the sense that he does love the doom and gloom of the Cowboys too, just because he would rather.
Of course he does.
He just loves listening to the radio when, and going after Jerry.
He was full on post game last night, like headphones on as Jared, the whole game. Like, we're watching the Texans Lions, and the whole game he's got his headphones on listening to stuff. I mean, the entire 3 hours.
So funny.
I'm done with how
diehard he is.
No, he is. I'm done. But it's hard to tell because I think, it's funny. Like, for me, yesterday especially, I did not care. Like, how crazy I get if I care. I didn't care. I was like watching the game. Like,
oh yeah, at this point you've checked out. The one thing I will say that's funny though from your dad's generation is it's like all those guys that are in their 60s or upper 50s, like they lived obviously through the Cowboys like glory years. So 10 years ago, like move it back 10 years ago when they were losing their mind with Romo in there and they couldn't win, they couldn't get over the hump in the playoffs. Everybody I know, it might have to do a little bit with age and maturing a bit, but they've also come to the realization that, like, look, we're not the 90s Cowboys anymore. It took them 15 plus years to do that. Like, I know several people that their week was ruined when the Cowboys lost games.
No, that's how my dad was.
He used to be. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean,
my
days would be, I was like that too. Not my week, but like the next day would be ruined if they lost.
I mean, we have family friends that are just, I have an uncle that is just like,
I'm still that way with Texas.
My mom's great uncle, my mom's uncle, when my mom's husband was playing for the Oilers and Saints, was still out loud cheering for the Cowboys on Thanksgiving to beat them. Like, I don't know. I don't give a shit that your husband plays for them. I'm cheering for the boys. Like, So these people, they exist.
But what's funny is, like, my dad will be in there saying we're going to get killed even when we're not bad, right? Like, even when Dak's playing good last year. But here's the funny thing.
You must hear me.
Yeah, texted me. Here's the funny thing is, like, yesterday in the game, and I noticed this when we're playing a team, and it's like, oh, we have a backup quarterback in. Like, no one expects us to win. And he says that, right? Like, he says at the beginning of the game, we're going to get killed. But then throughout the game, dude, he's cheering like he wants us to win. Like the fumble happens where it's 7-3, and he's like, get the ball. Like, he's actively rooting for them. And the thing is for me, and I'm more of a guy now that tends to care whether they win or lose, at least when they're good, compared to my dad. I'm more of an into it fan than he is. And I'm over here like, I don't care. Like, I almost don't want him to get the fumble. Like, I don't really care at all. Like, I'm watching the other games way more intently than that one.
Your dad is just very, and we're going to move on from the Cowboys here, but just very, like, even when the Commanders or Eagles are playing, he's openly cheering against them, like the Cowboys still have a chance in the division.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
All right, we're going to do things a little different today. We're going to go through we'll try to go quickly through some of the other games. This is the big one. We talked about the Cowboys. We're going to talk about this Lions-Texans game now from Sunday Night Football last night. It was an ugly game. We're going to get to it. Then we'll go through kind of the other big games and big talking points, and we'll just kind of go through them more quickly this week instead of doing good, bad, and the ugly. We're going to try to mix it up. Let us know in the comments what you like. Do you like good, bad, and the ugly? Let us know if you like this way that we're doing it better. So we're trying to figure out the best format for the show going forward. Okay, so Lions beat the Texans last night, 26-23 on a walk-off. Jake Bates, 52-yard field goal. Great story. Kid's from Tomball, Texas, 27-year-old. He went to Texas State for a little while. Then he transferred to Arkansas, but he was just a kickoff specialist. He wasn't kicking field goals there. Went undrafted. He was selling bricks in Houston, okay, and got a tryout with the UFL team, the Michigan Panthers, and then we saw him kick in the UFL. He kicked a 64-yard game-winning field goal in one of the games because we're big UFL fans, big UFL fans,
big UFL guys.
Okay, and so we watched him kick. We're like, damn, this kid's really good. Hits this crazy kick, walk-off. 77 UFL guys got invited to training camps. 2 made a 53-man roster. Jake Bates was one of them. Okay, he got a 2-year deal in June. And the Lions last night were down 3. Crazy game, which we'll get to. But he nailed a 58-yarder to tie the game with like 4 minutes to go. And then after Fairbairn, who's been money from 50-plus all year, missed way wide left. The Lions got the ball back, got in field goal range, and Bates kicks a walk-off 52-yarder. They carry him off the field. Cool as shit story. Seems like a really good kid. He literally was talking about how he thought his dream of playing football in the NFL was over, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, gets the tryout with the UFL. He's 13-13 on the year, field goals. He very well, barring, kickers are weird, but very well barring like collapse, he's going to get himself a multi-year deal and probably be a kicker for a while in this league because he can kick from 60-plus yards, and he's accurate, and, that's not always easy to find in the NFL. There's kickers all over the place missing. There was 10 field goals missed in the NFL yesterday.
Yep.
So,
yeah, he's good story, good player.
Yeah.
I remember when he was in the UFL, I was like, that guy, I said, I don't know who's going to go to the NFL from the UFL, but that guy, if he's in that game we watched, I think he hit a 61-yarder and or 63-yarder and a 61-yarder. It was something nuts.
Yeah, he's hit multiple 60-yarders.
He's like back to back, and I was like, dang, this kid's he'll definitely get a tryout. I think he'll end up being on a team. But yeah, that is a cool story. I didn't know he was from Houston, selling the bricks there. So, look, I'll break it down quick. You can't pick Jared Goff off 5 times and lose the game.
Yeah.
It's just impossible. Obviously, the Texans could not run the ball for shit. Mixon had 25 carries for 46 yards.
By the way,
the Lions are tough to run the ball.
Sorry to interrupt, but did you see, I'm just curious, like, I know you were kind of in and out watching the game. Did you see, and my dad and I were talking about this with Joe Mixon, because the Bengals cut him because of his off-the-field and locker room issues.
Wow.
And
there was a video of him knocking a girl unconscious at the University of Oklahoma.
We know this, okay?
Not everybody.
This is a known thing, okay? What I'm talking about is that was years ago. He got his second chance. People don't forget. But Sean Connery right hook. But
best right hook I've seen since Tyson.
Oh man, we're off the rails here. Back to him though. No, he was throwing shit on the sideline and throwing his helmet and they were winning at this point. And it was just like, I just wondering if you saw, he was acting like a maniac.
He's just frustrated with how bad the offensive line is. Offensive line's terrible. Didn't Laramie Tunsil have to lead the game too last night?
I think he came back.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah. If they lose him, then, it's already a horrible, horrible offensive line.
But, sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going. You can't pick off C.J. Stroud 5 times.
Goff 5 times.
You can't.
Stroud hadn't been good, obviously.
He was terrible.
Offensive line. It obviously hurts not having Diggs or Nico. I think they'll get Nico back next week against the Cowboys, so that'll help. But yeah, there's just you can't lose a football game when you win the turnover battle by that many. So
okay,
it's hard to wrap your mind around a quarterback throwing 5 interceptions and winning the game. It's like they put a stat what's crazier. It's like a quarterback throwing 5 picks and winning, or Joe Burrow throwing 5 or 6 touchdowns and losing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, was it 5 that he threw?
No, so I saw the stat. It was, he threw 4 touchdowns, but he was 36 of 56 for 428 and 4 touchdowns. Yeah. And they said, so there have been 2 instances in NFL history where a guy has thrown for over 300 yards, had more than 30 completions, thrown for 4 more touchdowns, had multiple 40-plus yard touchdowns in a game and not more than one interception and still lost the game. That's happened twice in NFL history. Both of them are the Bengals versus the Ravens this year with Joe Burrow. He did it twice. He was so good.
That shows you how bad the defense is.
And how bad Zach Taylor is. And we'll get there in a little
how
bit.
many teams... I can't imagine there haven't been... I mean, obviously, it's probably more than 2. I can't imagine that... We'd have to look up the stat. I don't even know how you'd find it. That a quarterback's thrown 5 interceptions, though, and won many games, if any at all. Like,
I know that
real tough.
I know. I did see this stat, and they were shitting on the 1970 Bears for this because they were the only other ones to ever do this. For a team to be down at any point in a game by 15 or more points and throw 5 interceptions in a game, only one team had ever done that and lost, and it was the Chicago Bears back in 1970. And then last night, the same thing with the Detroit Lions. But
jeez.
I would venture to guess they were saying the last time. Can you tell me here's a funny one. Can you tell me the last quarterback to throw 5 picks in a game?
Oh yeah, Nathan Peterman.
No.
Oh, because he had like 4.5, but not 5 in a game.
Did he not throw 5? I don't know if he threw 5, but he's not the last one. I know that. Actually, I don't even know. I think Peterman threw 4, but they were all in the first quarter. I think they were all in the first quarter.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was impressive.
That shows the people at home. They're like, I think I go complete a couple passes. Like, no, you can't. Nathan Peterman's a legend. Gruden still hasn't given up on Nathan Peterman. Last guy to throw 5. Who could it have been? Jameis or Baker Mayfield? Probably. Was it Jameis?
Famous Jameis, baby. 5 picks.
That's because you couldn't see, dude. He thought Bruce Arians was black. He's on the record saying that.
For the whole year, the whole season. Apparently, I just looked it up. It says, since 1991, Goff is the 3rd quarterback to throw 5 interceptions in a game and win. The Falcons, Matt Ryan in 2012, and none other than the Dallas Cowboys, Tony Romo in 2007. They each threw 5 picks and won the game. So it's very, very rare. 3 times in the last 35 years.
But
right?
not as rare as Burrow's.
Yeah. But I do want I want your take on this because, and this might be a good topic to talk about for this game, right? Like, it was a crazy game. It was an ugly game. CJ Stroud played poor. He's just not been good, dude. Like, I think I looked it up. He's completing 50% of his passes over the last 3 games. They're 1-2. They lost to the Jets last week. You can't lose this game, right? Like, you just can't. And the interception he threw, the second one, well, the first one was bad too because they're up 16 coming out of halftime. You have the ball, and the first throw he throws a pick, and it was a one-on-one little out route, and it's like the one thing you can't do is leave it inside, and he did. It was picked. Goff threw a pick back on the next play, so it didn't matter. And then it was the one that changed the game was 13-10. The Texans are driving to go back up by 3 scores. And literally Tank Dell is wide open in the end zone, and C.J. Stroud just floats it up there, and Carlton Davis comes over and makes a ridiculous interception. But C.J. Stroud cost them the game last night, in my opinion, hands down. The defense was phenomenal. But my question to you is this. Jared Goff was one of the worst performances I've seen from a quarterback in a long time. It wasn't just the picks. If you watched him, he was so mentally in his head that after he threw the 5th one, the ball was coming out like a fucking punt. I mean, literally like a shanked punt every time, just a lame duck. It was wobbling like if you kicked a ball the opposite way, and you're like, how is that even possible for the ball to come out that way? Even the last throw that he converted on 3rd down, like, it was right at the guy's chest, but it was all over the place. My question to you is this. Is this if you're a Lions fan, is this very, very concerning? Like, for a team that people thought 2 weeks ago, like, oh, they're very likely to be the favorites to win the Super Bowl. They're the best team in the NFL. Is it concerning to you that Jared Goff does this, and not just the 5 picks, but he has these games like this? He's just inconsistent. Is this would you be concerned as a Lions fan right now?
I mean, they found a way to win the game, so, oh my God.
We're finishing
Elvis is in the building. No, sorry. I mean, just
no, it's not you.
The star power when it walks in like that. I don't know how you're supposed to focus.
We're finishing this.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Listen, it was a horrible game. They found a way to win the game, so I guess that's what you would say. Oh, they still won the game. Obviously, you're not going to win if if he does have a game like that in the playoffs. They're not going to win the game, but they're still in the driver's seat to get the bye. I think they're going to get the bye, and I still think. It just shows you the fact that, the team can, first of all, they can really stop the run well. They're great against the run. Secondary's iffy at best. But to be able to win a game this way, I think it actually does. Now, obviously, that's going to rattle Jared Goff's confidence, but I think from a team standpoint, they're saying, hey, they're almost like the Chiefs at this point, like, hey, we just can't lose. No one can beat us. But I'm with you. I know everybody was, I mean, before Lamar Jackson went off for like the crazy games and Josh Allen, I mean, some people had Jared Goff as like the MVP favorite.
Oh, that's just the dumbest
No,
thing
but
I've
they
ever
did. You know what I mean? Like the odds. So
I mean, even going into last night, he only had 14 touchdowns on the season. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, I don't know what they're talking about. But here's my concerning thing with this. Okay, look, my take since week 4 has been this, and I like the Lions. I picked the Lions to go to the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. My concern is that they have the best offensive line in football, in my opinion. They have the best running backs in football. They have one of the best pass catching cores in football, right? Top 3 probably overall, right? You got Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, who are 1A and 1B, Sam Laporta, right? Like, you have Gibbs out of the backfield as a pass catcher. It's ridiculous, right? Like you said, they've been the number 1, they're number 4 this year in EPA per rush allowed, but they've been the number 1 rush defense for the last 3 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
So the one in my opinion, if you look at the defense in general, they're good enough to be a Super Bowl caliber defense, right? Because they can make you one-dimensional. The one guy who I said this from week 4, the one reason the Lions would not win the Super Bowl is because of Jared Goff. He's the only way they don't, I think. I think if you put any top 5 quarterback on that team, in my opinion, they win a Super Bowl this year, hands down, easily. And to me, it would be very concerning that this keeps happening because people won't remember this one, but back in the Tampa Bay game they lost, he threw the ball 50 times. And what happens in the playoffs is you get smart coaches. And DeMeco Ryans is a smart coach. He's a very, very, very smart guy, right? And he came in last night and he said, how do we beat the Lions? We make the worst player on the team beat us. And you make Jared Goff be a drop back passer. Not a guy who can run play action 100 times and get hit wide open guys coming out of... No, I'm talking about snap the ball, back drop passer. And what they do, they did not. They shut down the Lions run game last night. Like, I know they got it going a little bit at the end, but I mean, the Lions could not run the ball for shit last night. Neither Gibbs nor Montgomery. I don't know what the final numbers were at the end of the game, but the first 3 quarters, they couldn't move the ball on the ground whatsoever. Not at all. And so what happens when you do that and you take away the run? And it's not like the Texans are some elite run defense. They schemed well and they said, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to make Jared Goff beat us drop back passing. And one-on-one coverage, not where he can sit there and find little openings. And what happened? He couldn't do it. He could not do it, right? The last drive of the game, they only won that game because Fairbairn missed that field goal and because C.J. Stroud gave away the game, okay? But for me, Jared Goff has been an inconsistent quarterback his whole career, right? He is a product of Ben Johnson and the weapons around him in the offensive line, not vice versa, right? This offense being good is what has caused Jared Goff to look good, not vice versa. Jared Goff does not make this offense look good. I would be very, very concerned after last night as a Lions fan because if Jared Goff, and we saw it in the playoffs, he did it in the Tampa Bay game. They were lucky to win that game. They should have lost it. He was actually better in San Francisco. But then late in the San Francisco game, what happened? They made him be a drop-back passer. He couldn't do it. I just don't see the Lions winning a Super Bowl with that guy. Last night sealed it for me. I will not pick the Lions to win the Super Bowl. I would love it if they did. I like Jared Goff. I don't dislike him. He's just not very good. That's my take on that.
I'm looking at his stats now. I think you said it well. I'm looking at stats here. How on earth does QBR work in the sense that, so not this last game, obviously it was low, but when he played against Tennessee where they just dominated the game, this is why QBR is a weird stat. He was 12 of 15, right, for 85 yards and threw 3 touchdowns. Didn't turn the ball over. His QBR was 14.8.
Yeah, I think.
How does that even work?
I agree. I think it has to do with the fact that like he only threw for 85 yards. I think like it. I don't know. Yeah. I'm guessing. I don't know.
No, it had to
agree.
be.
Like that makes no sense.
Like he literally just did what he was. They were winning the game by fit. So that's why that's a weird stat.
No, I completely agree.
I mean, his rating was 129.9, but then his QBR was 14.8.
I mean, I think it QBR is like it weights things weird. Like it weights runs. It weights like how important a play is. I actually need to look up what the exact formula is.
Because that's weird to play like that and only have 3 incompletions, not turn the ball over.
No, I agree. But then last night he throws 5 picks and it's a 29. So it makes no sense. But on the year, his QBR is average. 54 is right in the middle, and that's what he is. He is an average NFL quarterback, and that is behind all this
talent in offensive line. So what happens when you put him again with a bad team?
Yeah, no, I always thought Jared Goff is very, like you said, average. Typically, but he has bad games, but he typically can get the job done with that much talent.
All right, Big Dog.
I have a feeling we're going to get quite the production today. Bailey's checking to see if the TV's working. Happy Veterans Day.
No.
Oh.
No. If you put the hat on, you're not coming on the show.
Shut your mouth, don't get him started. Got the hot takes, ain't wrong about nothing. It's Big Dog. It's Big Dog. Straight from LA, just sold the studio. Louis on the way.
I want to say hi.
Oh, boy.
Teaching special kids, then I had
TJ Wa.
It's Big Dog.
What?
TJ Wee. Him and I were in the crevices together
In the
at some
trenches.
point in our lives.
Oh, look at this. Notes.
All right. So what?
Handwriting
I'll let
like
you
that,
just finish.
Nick, You're a genius. When you have handwriting like that where you can't really see what's going on, it's doctors and geniuses. That's it. 70,000 feet.
God, you're so accurate.
tell
They
you
actually
what.
analyzed my handwriting when I was young.
And they said
that.
this guy
Hey,
is the smartest.
real quick, I want to say one thing.
we've ever met.
Jared Goff, he thinks Jared Goff sucks. Correct?
Yeah.
He thinks he's part of an actual scheme. Let's say, and when you listen to a lot of people talk that break down film, he talks to people that are, I don't know, they break down other things, player efficiency, whatever. He has his numbers he looks at. I look at guys like Greg Cosell, NFL Films, who says if you take schemes out of any one of these quarterbacks that you hate, Jalen Hurts, all of them, every quarterback would suck. You'd have, if you put Patrick Mahomes away from Andy Reid and put him on the Panthers with that coach, you'd see he'd be better than anybody they've had in the last 10, 15 years. But it would not be good. Even if you took the players, if you remove Andy Reid from that situation, so to say scheme is this is what Jared has. I'll agree to this. His playing last night, his throwing of the ball was god awful. It was.
Anybody with eyes could see that one.
Yeah, he was. This is the bottom line. Rams, Jeff Fisher, worst quarterback in NFL history, had 6 wins that season. Next, he gets Sean McVay. Look what happens. Where's he go? Super Bowl. Gets traded to the worst team with the 1-15 record. They win 6 or 7 games the next year. They didn't have all those players at that point.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. So they weren't developed if they did.
They did.
So anyway.
They weren't good.
So they weren't good. So
they got better when the players got better.
The point is they didn't move on from him with all those picks they had. All the number 1 picks they could have grabbed quarterbacks. They didn't. Okay. They stuck with him.
And
he's got, how many wins did he have last year? 11, 12? 12.
Something like that.
Yeah. This year, they're at 8-1. Thank you.
No thanks to him.
End of sentence. But let me go back to one thing. Okay, so now we'll go on to something else, and I can do my takes whenever y'all want. I'll wait.
No, we're ready. I mean,
I'll wait till we do the show.
Or not, I think.
Y'all going to do WNBA?
Hold on.
With you,
oh gosh, he doesn't even watch the show. He has no idea what we're talking. He goes, "We're going to talk." He thinks we're talking about WNBA.
I watch when I'm on.
No.
I watch when I'm on. We're going to finish NFL. I want to talk a few more topics here. We had the Steelers-Commanders game yesterday. Let's talk through that one quickly.
Mike Tomlin.
Steelers find a way to win the ugliest game. Russell Wilson has made this offense more explosive, and that's what we said 3 weeks before they pulled Justin Fields. It makes no sense to keep Justin Fields in there. It was a tough decision. I will give Mike Tomlin credit where it's due. Him going to Russell Wilson was a very smart move. Now, it is funny because you look at Russell Wilson's numbers through some of these games, like they're really honestly no better than he had in Denver, but he has a much better defense and he's got better receivers and he's got a, running game and a team who just has a winning culture and he looks a lot better, but I will hand it to him. He's playing much better and he did throw the game-winning touchdown yesterday and the defense did a good job against Jaden Daniels. I mean, plain and simple. So that was a big one. He had a 73 QBR yesterday, threw 3 touchdowns, 14-28 for 195 yards. Not great, but
what do you?
He's a winner.
So
Let's just want a big dog's
preseason. Matt Flynn, they give him $14 million. They bring this kid over. I see him in preseason. I say in front of the playroom with our old TV setup, which was only 3 or 4. I say that guy's going to start for them. He's going to be a stud in the NFL. Dylan says he's out of Wisconsin or where he's from. He sucks. He's horrible. He's a joke. He's drafted 5th round. He went to the Super Bowl and won. So it is rewarding for me to see Jared from Jeff Fisher to 8-1, and to see Russell Wilson balling. Because I want to say one thing: when he went out that first half, the first time they put him out there and they started booing him, man, that took some digging down deep. He did have 4 pretty bad passes when he started. That is one of the most incredible recoveries I've seen.
Oh my God.
No, it was. I'm saying the fans were booing him. He had Justin Fields ready over there, standing by the sidelines.
Oh, yeah.
He threw 3 bad throws, waddle balls, bad balls. They did not look good.
He just has Godzilla
and he
balls.
grabbed himself below like I do. Well, he didn't have them like me.
Yeah.
But he inflated those things. He pumped them up. And he made 5 passes in a row that turned it around. That is a really good story. It's almost as good as Doug Peterson's Winning Bowl, Super Bowl book. But anyway, go ahead.
What's happening to Doug Peterson, by the way?
He's not doing good this year.
Yeah,
you know why, though? Do you know why he's not doing well? Do you know why?
Because he sucks.
No, because
please.
they say he might be hitting
The what?
the sauce.
What's the sauce?
Dougie's back on the
he's
sauce.
back on the sauce.
Back on the
this
sauce.
year.
I like it.
Dougie's not on the sauce.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's
He's
kicking
a
back.
big boozer.
Oh, he's a boozer.
Secondly, I mean,
Yeah,
I know we're talking
during
about,
the year. That's not good for your coaching brain.
How does Dable still have I was waiting to see that he was fired. Maybe they haven't made it back yet. And then Daniel Jones was 22 of 37 for 190 yards and 2 picks. I mean, what is the Giants owner doing? Just fire Brian Dable and get rid of fucking Danny Jones. It's over.
Okay.
It's over.
You said they were going to lose to the Panthers and
he
they were going to leave
Yeah.
Dayball.
I would have
Munich.
left them both in Munich
Yeah.
and said, you boys join the traveling
Yeah.
circus. It's over in the NFL for you.
I would tank the season if I were them. I would definitely listen to me.
They don't need to take
if they don't get rid of that coach, if you watched, let's make it short. So we can get a bunch of stuff today. I'm not going to blab. If you don't get the behind the scenes, what's it called? HBO, Hard Knocks. If you don't watch those 5 series on that GM and that coach and think like you did on Jerry Jones, the ancestral inbred Beverly Hillbillies, that's when you totally knew that we were running a shit show in Dallas, inside into no football minds, absolute idiots. But if you looked at that, the three of those guys in the office at that show, analyzing, trading their running back and this new season and the egomaniacal coach that they have that he is, I would clean fucking house.
Oh, yeah, they should.
And they won't. They're not going to do it.
One last thing for you here, too, big dog.
No, we're going through all NFL, so go ahead.
Well, no, yeah. What are we going to do with your what's going on with your boy Caleb Williams?
Okay, this is where I was going next. This is perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. I love this. And
Let's talk about
this
your
is how
boy.
quick I am.
Your pick, the
They're my
number
pick.
1 overall pick.
Let me see.
Oh, he looked so good yesterday.
19-3 loss.
No,
at
he's
home
to
to the Patriots.
Hey, here it is on Caleb Williams. Ready? I think it's simple. The guy does not understand, and they're running way too long routes. They need to have short toss-ups, short just pitch downs. They need a disciplinarian with him. He's a freestyle a little kid that you got to stick him right in a system. And that coach, I said at the end of last year, why would you keep him? And they could have gone out and got Cliff.
Yeah, because he really
they could have gone and got Cliff. He wanted Cliff. Instead, they lost Cliff to the Skins, which is weird, and to the Redskins. Woo, woo, woo. And there's no way to take that name away. And so, surround the troops. Get your hatchets out.
What?
Yeah, the Redskins. Woo, woo, woo.
Oh,
And I want to say one thing.
Tomahawk war cry there?
real
Like
quick.
you're in it-
That's
Yeah,
really
well,
bad. That's
Real quick. I want to say one last thing.
You sounded like a train for a second.
Caleb Williams is playing like shit, but just wait till they get him a coach.
Just wait.
Caleb Williams sucks. Plain and simple. Turner agrees. Everybody agrees. Anybody with fucking eyes can see the guy sucks. He's not an NFL quarterback. Yeah, maybe he'll get better over the course of his career. He is the 4th best quarterback of the 4 starting quarterbacks who are rookies this year. Nobody would disagree with that after yesterday's performance. He is worse than Drake May. He is worse than Bo Nix. He is way worse than Jaden Daniels. Plain and simple.
Yeah, but
he
Bo's
sucks.
playing good ball. Bo's playing good
Wait.
ball.
Bo shouldn't be a pro.
Can we stay?
All right,
Can we
that's
stay
fine.
on Caleb Williams or no?
All right,
Because
that's
he
fine.
sucks.
Well, look, Caleb sucks
is
today.
Not very good.
Sucks
right?
today.
Right,
Turner.
not very good right now.
right now,
Thank you.
I mean,
do you think he's
who
going to be
knows?
good?
I don't necessarily think he's ever going to be what people think, but I think he could be potentially a serviceable quarterback. Yeah, I mean, I think it could be like
Serviceable.
15 to like the 15th to 20th best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
In order
I don't
for
think
him
he's
to-
ever going to be any better than
if-
that.
in
No, I
order
could be wrong, but I don't think
I
so.
don't think so either.
Here's where, in order for him to be good, he has to change his mentality. That's it.
I don't
It's
think
not his
that's ever
arm.
going to happen, though.
Not his arm.
But he still wants ownership of the
Decision.
Bears.
What?
I said, I'm sure he still wants
That's
ownership
the
of the
most
Bears.
wild. That's going to go down as the most wild request ever for a guy who's going to be, a journeyman quarterback to be like, yeah, I want ownership of this fucking organization.
That's actually smart fucking business. Let me tell you
Except
something.
nobody would.
Do y'all
want to
learn something?
Except no one.
You're
gave
never
it to
gonna
him.
make.
Yeah, except
look,
it was a dumb
do you-
idea. Now he looks like an idiot.
Well, let's say it this way. Do y'all want to learn some life lessons? Because
No.
that's what I'm. Yes,
Of
you should
course.
learn this.
School
Ready?
of Hard Knocks. Big
Okay,
dog,
watch.
Hard
All
Knocks.
Bailey, all of you. You never make success. You never become successful in making an hourly rate. They do. Their hourly rate is incredible as a pro. You only make it with investing in or having equity. So there's no way you can get anywhere in life if you're on an hourly rate. Let's go.
Unless you're making $50 million a year. in the
That's right.
NFL.
That's different.
Okay. No, that's
Go
fair.
ahead and give any of your takes that you got, because then we're gonna play WNBA night, and then you're out of here. So go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Please.
All right. If you guys think you're going to bring on some blonde and she's going to take my place, Bailey, get my shit ready.
Oh God, I knew this was
Real
Bailey was
quick,
already
that
testing
ain't
the
happening.
TV.
Look, I have nothing against blondes. In fact, my wife's the most gorgeous blonde I've ever met in my life, and I've been married forever, and she's so lucky. You're so lucky that she's so lucky she has me. But anyway, and everyone knows that. But don't. Okay, we're good. All right, now. But I want to say one thing: no blondes taking Big Dog's place. I am the show. That's the new shirt. Okay, put a tattoo on. I am
Love
the
it.
show. Okay.
Love it.
And my wife's mad because she saw a big check I got and I didn't tell her about it. And she saw it, did. And I went out and looked at cars yesterday. And I told her, and I went out and looked at new refrigerators,
The
new
new
everything. I want to
Corvette.
spend my money. Because you know what Dylan said? Dylan said this to me. I don't want your money when you're gone.
I
So I
don't.
I know you don't. I respect that. I like that. Would you do that?
No, I'd take the
Thank
fucking
you.
money.
You can invest it like Trump did and lose it. So my point is, there you go, twice.
Give
So
it
my
to
point
Bailey.
is, so the point is that he'll make his own living, which I respect. So I'm going out and getting a car pretty soon. I decided I'm going to upgrade my cars, and I'm buying a couple refrigerators and things today and laptops I bought last night. And I've been working out.
Of course.
Oh gosh. And Bailey, have I been working out? Look at
Oh,
that.
there he is.
Look at that. Okay. And I've been doing this for about 3 months, and I'm going to sell the routine next a couple of months on the
Oh,
show. I
okay.
got to get let's see the other one where I'm in my other outfit, Bailey. There I am.
Oh,
Okay.
holy
The beach.
smokes.
Well, look at that. I am working out
Working out.
big time. Look at
I
the
know.
Bailey, you
Holy
didn't make
smokes.
this. This is shoddy work here. He
Bailey.
must have
Bailey
made
was in a
this.
hurry. Bailey was in a
No,
hurry.
Bailey didn't make this.
And
There's
real
no
quick,
way.
I just want to say I want to introduce a new thing to the
shoddy
show.
work there. That's
Listen,
boring.
I want to introduce a new thing to the show because I am the big dog and y'all are my sons. So I want to do a Dallas show. And I've got some ideas I'm going to run by y'all. Let's pull up
He's
the
got
ideas,
plenty of ideas,
the
just no follow-through.
concepts of what we think of the new show. There's one. There's Mommy in the Cow Club. Okay. Okay. The next one, Bailey.
Why are you on there?
I don't even know what the hell's going
And there's
on here.
Turner.
Oh.
That's supposed to be Turner over there. Oh, that's Turner. That's you? Wow.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
I look very Amish in that
So
one.
I think, and there we are again. There's Dylan and Turner riding at the. So these are concepts y'all could cut. The Cowgirl Club is the Cowboys Club we're going to do, and we're going to call it the Cowgirl Club. And you ought to bring the other girl on. Is there anything else, Bailey, we have left that I didn't talk about
I am
today?
so lost with the Cowgirl Club.
No, it's
here.
about the Cowboy
I
section.
mean,
That's going to be
oh.
our Cowboy section.
Oh,
so y'all
okay.
can pick one of these logos.
Okay.
The Brotherhood. Right. Yes. Okay. Now, back to my workout photo just real quick on the beach, Bailey. If you can pull that thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one we need.
That's what the
And
people
this
show
is
up
the
for right
segment.
there.
Listen, this is the segment I want to have where I do some workouts for you, the people right here.
That would be great. I think
Okay.
you should start today. Let's see 20 push-ups.
All right.
All right. Quick 20.
And
I will give you $100 right now in my wallet if you can do 20 push-ups.
I already know I cashed my finger. I
Oh,
can't.
yeah. You can't.
It's
Finger.
my
That's
finger.
true. The
Dude,
finger is
my
messed up.
Look at that.
Look at that.
My finger. That's why I can't do the push-up.
Well, let me say it this way. You ready? I do 200 sit-ups straight a night now. You want to bet? I do. I do 200 a night. I used to be able to do 40, then 60, then 80. Now it's 200. I can do
when-
200.
That's the American
You know when
dream right
Uncle
there.
T
You can
shuts
do that.
up, it's bullshit.
Oh, no. God,
All right.
please.
So
Look at that. If he can do that, that's before he hurt his finger. That's before he hurt his finger. Me. You.
Me is greater than you. Yeah,
Yes.
he's an idiot. He's got mental issues.
All right. Well, I want to.
He just snorted. You should have heard him last
The
night.
guy cracks himself
You
up.
should have
I'll
heard
tell
him
you.
last night saying the stuff he was saying. Like, I don't even know. They're not even words. He was like talking gibberish last
All right.
night.
Well,
I thought he's having a fucking stroke.
I'm healthy as a
Stroke,
horse.
smoke.
I just got back. But I want to say thank you guys out there that love me, because people are saying
You have no fans.
I should be on the show. Well, why did I just get a check for $40,000?
You have no fans.
Okay. So $40,000. I'm going out.
No, we're not done yet. Sit down.
Oh yeah, you got to stay
Sit
for
down.
WNBA or not. You'll love this game.
No, I was going to do the pick'ems for the NFL games only.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Yeah,
Hold
that's
on.
I forgot my brother's photo.
brothers,
That's right.
That's the.
Love
That's right.
love it.
That's this dude and I go way back.
Oh,
and
do you? What did you guys do together?
Where do you think we were together? Where do
That's
you,
the gayest thing I've ever heard.
where do you
pretty
think? Where do you
gay.
think? No. Listen, where do you think we were together? And where? Overseas? Where? Fighting where?
Oh, a nom.
Thank you.
No.
Interesting.
Oh, I told you you're off the show next
Well,
week.
listen,
I told you can't say
me
that.
and my brother.
Nope. That's 1 week suspension. Nope, 1 week suspension.
Just for the brothers photo.
No, because you said nom. I told you.
Nom. Big
I
dog.
Well,
told
maybe
you.
we were at Desert Storm.
Nope. There's 2 weeks now.
Oh,
Now you
God.
referenced 2 separate wars.
Okay.
All right, let's get him in here for WNBA or not.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
you want to leave for WNBA? Or wait,
No,
let's
he's
do it.
gonna be on here now.
Okay.
He's already ruined the show. So let's just keep going.
Yeah, you can stop casting.
Yeah.
that. I just love that photo. It's greatness, man. You and I, we're a comedic genius team.
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you, it's like Letterman and Chris Elliott. Aloha, Dave.
All right, it's time for WNBA or not.
It's time to play WNBA or not.
We are going to play a 2-person
Big dog edition.
Big Dog edition. Although we're still grading Turner, we're just going to let Big Dog play as well. And so we're going to start with number 1 here for WNBA or not.
He's trying to put my mind in the blender here. You know what? That might be Will Smith's son. Is that
Okay, whatever.
yeah, might be.
No, you wouldn't take a photo out there.
yeah.
Freeway.
I'm gonna say oh yeah, she is under a freeway. I don't know, Dylan May. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna side with Big Dog here. We're going WNBA player.
That's
yes.
that's lame because you were not going to get that. You were not.
Yeah,
gonna
I
get
was.
that.
You were trying
No,
to-
you were going to say no, and then he said WNBA player.
No, you were trying to put
Nope.
my mind in a blender.
No, you were not going to get that.
Okay,
Brittany
well
Sykes.
then don't guess. I was
No,
absolutely gonna guess
He
that
can
was a
guess.
WNBA
That's the
player.
part of the show. He's helping you. That's fine.
Oh.
But you would not
Oh
have
my
got
God,
it.
yeah.
All right,
So,
keep going.
so in my
Please.
personal record book, you're 0 for 1, but you're 1 for 1.
No,
That
he's 1
sounds
for 1.
like
He's
your
1 for 1.
fantasy football
He's one-
championships.
Yeah, he's 1
I have
for
1. I have 1 and 06.
1 for 1.
1 for 1.
All right, number 2. Oh, I
What
do
a
have another one.
shitty
That's right.
picture that is. I can't even see it. It's like looks like a little.
Yeah,
white-
that's WNBA. She's foreign though.
yeah.
Yeah, that's WNBA.
I'm gonna say not a WNBA
Yeah, she played
player.
for years ago.
Y'all are
Not
disagreeing here?
Yeah.
a WNBA player.
That is a WNBA player. You're 1 for 2. 0
God,
for 2
Big
in my
Dog, you're
personal
so
record
fucking
book.
good.
That is Courtney Vandersloot.
It's a terrible picture.
Courtney
Shouldn't count.
Vandersloot
I'm
of the
1
New
and
York
0 in my fake Dylan standings. 1
All right,
and
let's
0.
go.
Number 3. Number 3 is a WNBA player.
I
or
think
not.
it's a coach.
That looks like a
That's a
weird
coach.
like. That's not a WNBA player. Official guess, not a WNBA player.
think she's
I don't
a
know what's
coach.
going on with the lighting and shit in there too. It's like it looks like one of those photo shoots someone would put a.
That's a
like
WNBA player.
That the Napoleon Dynamite.
That's a WNBA player.
Glam shots by Deb.
Oh, wait a minute.
It looks edited.
I gotta look
as
at the
shit.
photo. Yeah.
that is not a WNBA.
Yeah, not
player.
a WNBA player.
That is a WNBA
Oh,
player.
he's
And
doing,
you were
he's-
perfect, and you
he's
got it
doing-
right. And
he's doing all WNBA.
I love
this
it.
thing.
I love it. All right, you are now. I just flipped a coin. I just flipped a coin.
I thought
sure
she was
did.
a coach.
I swear to
Sure
God,
did.
I flipped a coin. Flip
Sure
a coin.
did.
I did. I flipped a coin. Let's see. All right, so you are now 1 for 3, which means you're in trouble here if you don't get this one. Number
This
4.
is bullshit. Big Dog's been throwing me off.
This is a WNBA player or not.
What the fuck? Big Dog, you're gonna need a
Well, no,
ball.
she's
you're gonna need
no,
the gloves
well,
for this
well,
one.
she's a basketball player. She might not be in the WNBA. She's probably overseas player.
Oh,
So I'm
really?
gonna say not a WNBA player.
I'm gonna say it is a WNBA player.
I'm surprised Turner got that one. That is a WNBA.
Yeah, these are all WNBA players. I told you this from
Okay,
the beginning. Flip the coin or not.
That is Astu.
I don't even need to see the last one.
Indoor Fall of the Connecticut Sun.
Yep, I knew her. Hell of a ball player.
All right, number 5 here. Let's see.
Hell of a ball player.
Number 5, WNBA player or not?
Yep, that is a WNBA player. I went 3 for 5 today.
No.
Unbelievably good.
That is not a WNBA player. And I got him on the last one, and he goes 2 for 5. Let's fucking
Liar.
go.
You didn't flip a fucking
Swear
coin.
to God, I flipped the coin.
Nah, lies.
Swear to God, I flipped the coin.
Lies.
Every single one. And that is PV Sindhu. She's an Olympic badminton player from India.
Yeah.
What a pick. Now, I do have a bonus for you
See, I
here.
should have zoomed in. There's no damn Indians that play in the WNBA.
Well, I can't get over how good I look in the photo. Let's go to the next one.
All right, that's it, but we have one bonus.
All right.
Okay, one
Probably
bonus.
Joanna Man.
One bonus.
That
Oh,
is
boy.
what her name is. My Shwalobama Shala. She plays for the Chicago
Oh, I know who that is.
Lip.
That's Big Mike. It's Michelle Obama. That's Big
I
Mike.
know. That's what I said. Michelle Obama. It's just, actually she plays.
Big
for,
Mike.
Hey, Big Mike. As my brother calls her, Big Mike.
all right.
All right, Michelle.
All right.
Shout out, Michelle.
That is Big Mike
Big Mike.
right there.
I saw. Yep. Look at that. Yep.
I'll be impressed if you can tell me who the body is. It's an NBA
John
player.
Wall.
No, it's Damian Lillard.
It's Damian Lillard. How did he get that?
I know it.
This mind you got up there. I mean, holy smokes.
How did he get that? All right,
Big Dog, thanks for joining us as always.
Who does Texas play this week?
Arkansas.
Where?
Arkansas. No. Yeah, Arkansas at Arkansas.
It's at Arkansas,
They're
yeah.
14-point favorites.
I predict that's going to be a 3-point game. I just can't get over how good I look. Thank you.
It is unbelievable.
Goodness gracious, Bailey.
Those 200,
I swear to you, the way
those
you
200 push-ups are really.
the way Bailey's running this right now.
Tell you what, it's quite. Oh, his fake cigarettes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right.
Why don't you light it then, buddy?
light that baby up?
You're a douchebag.
Because there's no smoking indoors.
You're such a douchebag.
That's gonna be probably a funny
Thumbnail?
thumbnail though. The cigarette and the camera is gonna be funny. Love you, Big Dog.
All right, I guess let's just move on from NFL now and go to college football. We had some big upsets last week. Miami goes down. Your Miami Hurricanes, who you love so much and you think Cam Ward's so great, they lose at Georgia Tech for the
First of
second
all.
straight year. And I love it. It made my night that your Canes went down and that Cam Ward went down, who's your dog of the week a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, we're not going to talk about Texas, by the way, folks at home, because Quinn Ewers had a 235 rating, which I didn't even know was possible in a 90 QBR.
Yeah, he was so
That guy sucks.
He was so good in that
Guy
game. Gosh,
sucks.
what a game he had. He should be a Heisman candidate for sure.
He absolutely should.
Damn.
Oh my God.
Against Florida? No way. I actually thought Quinn
Unbelievable.
played pretty good this week. A lot of those passes were checkdowns. He threw, but he also had a touchdown dropped that was a dime into the end zone. That would have been his 6th touchdown. So I'll give him that. He threw like 2 really good balls to the end zone. He played well. Florida's defense is not very good, but Texas played well. The defense looked great as always. Florida did not score in the first half. Look, the Longhorns have to take care of business the next 2 games. They win at Arkansas, which they should. They're going to be 14-point favorites. I'm assuming Kentucky at home, they're going to be closer to a 19-point favorite. They win those 2 games as 2 touchdown plus favorites. They're in the college football playoff, and I don't know exactly how it will play out, but like if Tennessee were to lose to Georgia this week and Texas were to win their next 2 and lose to A&M, I wonder how that would play
it's
out
gonna
for
be
the
crazy.
It would be a clusterfuck for the SEC. Yeah, especially if A&M were to lose another one too, which they very well could. Who does A&M have this week?
Oh no, they're playing New Mexico State this
Yeah,
week,
that's
too.
right. But they do still have to go they have to go to Auburn still.
Yeah.
Which will not be an easy win. Yeah, the SEC race is jumbled. We can talk about Ole Miss, Georgia. Ole Miss takes down the Bulldogs this weekend. They looked like a playoff team, if I'm being honest. I mean, Jackson Dart didn't look good early. Came back from his injury, was slinging it all over the place. They had their top running back out for the year. Trey Harris didn't even play. what did Dart throw? I guess it was raining. He didn't.
Oh
he didn't have
yeah,
great
it
numbers.
wasn't a game.
13 for 22 for 199.
Yeah, it wasn't an offensive game by any stretch. But yeah, Ole Miss's defense looked really good. Yeah, you could see just an absolute crazy tie at the end of the year. And imagine if South Carolina wouldn't have slipped up earlier on too, like in that game against LSU that they probably should have won. They'd have 2 losses there too.
Yeah, they should have lost that game.
Anyway, yeah, they shouldn't have lost that one. I think. Yeah, Clay. I think it was Clay Travis, and I was just scrolling through Twitter, was talking about how it could just. We could be looking at like a 5-way tie potentially.
Yeah, I mean the scenario for the SEC. I think let's just go by conference here. So we're starting with the SEC, obviously. So Texas wins their next 2, loses to A&M. They finish with 2 losses, right? Ole Miss and Georgia both win out. Bama wins out, and then if Georgia wins out, that means they will beat Tennessee. Okay,
Yeah.
So Tennessee. Their only game left, and I actually think Tennessee will lose to Georgia, and I actually truly believe they're going to lose to Vanderbilt. But let's say, for sake of argument, they win that game. That would be A&M loses to Auburn, they have 2 losses. Texas loses to A&M, they have 2 losses. Tennessee loses to Georgia, Georgia wins out. Ole Miss, Bama. That could be a 1, 2, 3, 4. That could be a 6-way tie for the SEC title. I just think it's going to be hard when you have 16 teams in a conference to determine a conference champion, because there's just too many teams who have schedules where they don't play each other. And then it's like, okay, how do you determine it?
Yeah, I agree.
Besides that, though, Ole Miss, I think, is a big winner this week because looking at their schedule at Florida versus Mississippi State, they should win out, and barring winning out, they will be in the playoff almost certainly, I think. To me, the big loser is Texas A&M, just on the pure sense of that. I think if Ole Miss loses that game, they have a very good chance of getting in with 2 losses, and now I don't know that they do. I guess it's weird because if they lose any more game, they're out anyway. But if they win and then lose in the SEC championship game, they'd have 3 losses, but really it'd be 2. And I don't know. I think they could very well miss the playoff because of Ole Miss winning that game. I could see that. Move to the ACC. Miami goes down. How does this affect the playoff race for the ACC? Does Miami get an at-large if they win out and lose in the ACC championship game now?
Jeez, yeah, I don't know. I just there's so many good SEC teams. Like we've talked about, we just don't know necessarily what the committee is going to do at the end. They have their rankings right now, right? But I mean, look what they did to Florida State. It's like. Now, obviously, that was a little bit of a different situation, but they had them in there at 4, right? They won the game, and then they dropped them. So, I mean, I don't know what they're ultimately going to do at the very end of the the SEC has a very good case to get 5 teams in, So, I don't know if that's going to happen, but they do. And then, okay, if that happens, then the ACC maybe gets 2 in. The Big Ten's going to get, what? At least 3 in.
Probably 4.
Because Indiana, and it just depends on what happens with Indiana. So there's going to be someone left out. Like you said, it's still a much better system, though, than just the 4. You can't complain if you're the 13th, ranked team in the country because you would never have been in the conversation before. So, but yeah, I'm interested to see what the committee does, how many SEC teams they ultimately put in.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
It is because you look at it, I think, and we were like, this is very weird because you look at it like, okay, how do you? And I know I'm going back to the SEC here, but right now they have 5 SEC teams. If the rankings were to end today, and I'm looking at the updated AP poll, not the college football playoff rankings. Those haven't updated yet. You have Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Georgia. Those are the 5 teams who would be in the playoffs right now from the SEC, right? And A&M is 15th. They're the 6th SEC team. And I just think it'll be fascinating if they beat Texas and lose in the SEC championship game and have 3 losses. Could they possibly put them over any of those other teams? Georgia, Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas.
I just don't think – I think where I guess we may disagree a little bit on it is I just don't think they're going to – I think they'll stack those teams together as they'll look at A&M as a team with 2 losses. They're not going to take in the fact that they lost that game. I still don't think they necessarily get in against those other teams, but they're just not going to take into effect a loss in the conference championship, I don't think. I think those days are kind of over where you'd get screwed. I mean, I think they're going to say, hey, if you make it to your conference, that should be looked at as a reward playing for a conference championship. And getting another loss shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Now, if you judge them against the other 2-loss teams, I don't necessarily think they get it anyway, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, but what's interesting in that sense is, let's say they do go to the SEC championship game and lose. The only way they do that is if they beat Texas. And what's interesting here is Texas is number 3, right? Let's say Texas finishes 10-2, A&M beats them, they don't play for an SEC title game. Is there any way, just answer this real quick, is there any way Texas gets left out at 10-2?
I don't personally think so, but if it came down to them or Texas A&M, they're going to say Texas A&M beat them head-to-head.
See, I don't think they would. I think if A&M lost in the SEC championship game and had 3 losses, I would agree with you if they both finished 10-2 and there was no SEC title game, sure. But I'm telling you, they're 15 right now. Texas is 3. They're like, just because they would have to launch up over them by beating Texas, and this is going to be very similar in the college football playoff rankings. They would have to beat Texas. If they beat Texas and then lost in the SEC championship game and launch over them by 12 spots, I just don't like. They would have to have a difference of 12 spots to move. I just don't see how that's possible.
Well, if they beat Texas, they would end up They would have them jump them in the standings.
I don't think they would.
I think
because
they would.
Texas's 2 losses, I don't think they would. Texas's 2 losses are to.
I get it, but then we go back to the conversation of bad losses versus a head-to-head.
Yeah,
win.
but again, there's too many head-to-heads in here, right? Like Alabama beat Georgia, Ole Miss beat Georgia,
right?
Alabama beat Ole Miss. So
you're
not going to look at it just like, oh, A&M beat Texas. Well, there's a bunch of head-to-heads, and Texas's 2 losses are those, and A&M lost to South Carolina. And A&M then loses a 3rd game. I'm telling you, there's no way they would leave a 2-loss Texas out, who's currently number 3. And
I don't think so.
My point being, the only way they would do that, the only way A&M would get in is if they did that, and they're never doing that. And that's my thing is why I think A&M gets left out regardless.
It just depends, like you said, if there's other SEC teams that which there will be, right? So with 2 losses, and you're arguing and figuring out which ones to put in, then I agree with you. I'm just saying if it was like literally for one spot, like it's like, okay, one of these 2 teams are going to go in.
Then they're gonna
I just don't know how.
But I don't think
you would go with a head. You wouldn't go with a head-to-head.
I agree. I'm just saying I'm just looking at this. There's no way Texas, like you look at it, like a team might beat another team, and they don't always necessarily jump them. And that's the thing is, like, I think if A&M goes into that game 14 and Texas goes into that game 2, right? There's no way A&M jumps them from beating them, like in that ranking. So then you're going into the SEC title game, and Texas is still ahead of A&M. That's my point. I don't think that they possibly would jump them.
Yeah,
I don't see how they would. I have no idea how they would possibly jump them.
Well, yeah.
And here's my other thing. Here's one other thing back to the ACC now, because we're talking about kind of the whole playoffs here. But Miami has 1 loss. Okay, here's another issue that I don't like. BYU. Oh, no, sorry, not BYU. Notre Dame.
BYU still in the future.
Yeah, BYU. Yeah, gosh, somehow Notre Dame has 1 loss to Northern Illinois. Okay, Miami. Say what you want. I'm a Miami hater over here. Miami has 1 loss. Their loss is way better than Notre Dame's loss. Miami's going to more than likely win their last couple games, and they're going to play for an ACC title game. Here's again, do you penalize a team? Notre Dame, everybody believes, wins their next 3, they're in, right? That's
true. The one thing I'd say is...
So you're going to have Notre Dame in over Miami because Miami loses in the ACC title game? That would be ridiculous to me. I think that's bullshit. I think Notre Dame and Miami, how can you even compare their resumes? Miami's way better than Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois at home.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes into I get what you're saying. It's definitely a worse loss, but Notre Dame also beat Georgia Tech by a gazillion. So
yeah,
I'm just telling you that's not going to happen. They're not going to jump Notre Dame.
I
Notre
agree.
Dame
They're not going to jump Notre Dame, but
they
should never. Notre Dame should not be ahead of Miami right now.
Like
that's bullshit.
Like the eye test too is like Notre Dame's far. Like people think Notre Dame's a far better team at this point than Miami.
You lose to I don't care if it's the first game of the season. You lose to Northern Illinois at home, who, by the way, Northern Illinois since that loss,
they've had a ton of
They're
injuries.
horrible. But they're 5-4 in the fucking MAC.
Their whole team's horrible. I mean, their whole team's hurt.
They're 7th in the MAC regardless. They're 2-3 in the conference, right? Like you can't lose that game to me. And like there's no, to me, especially with Notre Dame's schedule. And yeah, you want to compare to Miami, fine, because their schedule sucks too, but there's not a single 2-loss team in the country in a Power 5 conference that you could convince me I would rank ahead of Notre Dame. Or I would rank Notre Dame ahead of. Any 2-loss team I would rank ahead of Notre Dame because they didn't play a soul and they lost to Northern Illinois at home. They do not deserve to be in the top 12.
Well, they do have a win on the road at A&M. That's a better
first game of the season, with the quarterback who got pulled 2 games later.
I get it, dude. Notre Dame's going to get in.
No, I'm not saying they're not going to get in. I'm saying they don't deserve to be in, and they definitely don't. It's just they don't deserve to be automatically in over some of these teams. Like, my problem with it is it's the same recency bias that we have with the BCS. If you lose early, it's okay. You can lose to fucking Northern Illinois early. If they were undefeated and lost to Northern Illinois right now, there's a chance that they would not get in. Very well. There would be a legitimate discussion. Playing nobody and then losing at home to Northern Illinois, they probably would, but there'd be a fucking discussion. But because they lose early and now they move up in the rankings, like, oh, they're playing better. Like, I agree. Bullshit. I hate that they get away with that.
I agree with that.
And they don't play fucking anyone. They get to be in their own conference and just get away with all this. They should be forced to be in a conference. There should be no independent schools. It's annoying. Like, to me, they shouldn't. They just bother me based on their schedule and the fact that they're going to get. I know,
like I said though. I mean, regardless of all those things being said, they have a worse loss than Miami, but their best win is far better than Miami. And then you go back to
it is far better than Miami.
Yeah. So I mean, it's.
But they also played,
and Miami's also played. It's an eye testing where people are like, Miami should have 3 losses. We've talked about this.
I 100% agree.
So, I mean, yeah.
I'm not comparing I am comparing Notre Dame to Miami, but I'm saying Notre Dame in general compared to the rest of the field they bother me. They bother me that they're number 8 with a loss to Northern Illinois. And like look at their schedule. I get it. They played A&M the first game of the season. Yes, that's a good win at Kyle Field for sure. They beat Purdue, Miami of Ohio, Louisville, who is not going to finish the season ranked, Stanford, Georgia Tech, Navy, Florida State, Virginia, Army, and USC. That's one of the worst schedules in the country. Take away the A&M game, which they got at the very, very beginning of the year. Good win, for sure, good win on the road. Going to be a resume builder. That's why you schedule that game, so you can revert back to it and say, well, we beat A&M on the road. That's why they're going to get in, because of that win. You take that win off their schedule, you have a legitimate argument that they're not going to make it. Real quick, we got Big 12. BYU escapes. Do they get in if they lose in the Big 12 championship game undefeated?
I don't know. like we've touched on this so much. It just all depends. I don't think that. Yeah, if they lose that game undefeated, it goes back to being punished for losing a conference championship game. I think they would. But I don't know. But they're a lot like Miami, where they could have lost 3 games too.
Yes.
So to me, if that's what we're getting into, and I know shoulda, woulda, coulda lost, whatever, they've won the game. So credit to them. Does the committee actually think they're one of the best 12 teams in the country? No, I don't think so. But would they put them in? I really don't know. I to be honest with you, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no that they wouldn't get in. I don't think they would put them in if they lost. But I don't know.
They're only a 3-point favorite at home under the lights against Kansas this week.
Kansas blew the fucking doors off Iowa State.
I guess people here's an interesting thing, and since we're on the Big 12, right? Like, let's say BYU win or lose this week, regardless, they're going to probably be in the Big 12 championship game, barring an epic collapse. Even if they lost this game to Kansas this week, they do have at Arizona State. They'd have to lose 2 of their last 3, I think. And even then, would they still get in? Probably, yeah. Anyway, on the other side, though, let's say Kansas beats BYU this week, okay? Kansas is still have a shot at bowl eligibility, and Colorado has to go to Kansas 2 weeks from now, which is going to be
the way Kansas played against Iowa State, if they play that way, could easily beat Colorado. I mean, it'll be a good game. It'll be a track meet, but I think they could absolutely beat them. I think Colorado, like with the way you saw Utah playing and how pissed they're going to come out, I think this is going to be a tough game for them this week.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
What's the line on it?
I just saw it a second ago. It's 10.
Stop. It's 10?
Yeah.
That's actually absurd. I'm not saying he's great. Like, the offense in the second half stalled for sure, but the kid they put in for Wilson in the first half, at least, he looked way better. I mean,
I think you jinxed him because you said he was way better, and then I looked at his stats and I was like, he must have had a bad second
half. They had 40 yards in the second half. The whole offense did.
Yeah.
But to be fair to him, like, they neutered the offense in the second half because they were up big and they thought they were going to hang on. Like, I think the score was 22-3 at one point. I mean, it was or it was 20. Yeah, it was 21-3. It was 21-3 Utah. Then they scored and cut it to 21-10. Added a field goal in the third. Yeah, they did not score in the second half. So I don't know. Utah. I think Utah will give Colorado a run. I just won't be able to fucking take Colorado in the playoff.
Me neither.
It would suck really fucking bad. Like now, I guess the saving grace is Colorado essentially for the next 4 weeks is playing a playoff game because any loss to Utah, Kansas, or Okie State, they're now on the outside looking in of the playoff of the Big 12 championship game, and that's the only way they can get into the playoff is winning the Big 12 championship game.
Oh yeah.
And so if they win out and then lose in the Big 12, they're out, or if
For
they lose
sure.
any of these 3 games, they're out. So that's the saving grace if you're a Colorado hater like us. Anything else? Big 10, big game this week. Indiana, Ohio State coming up. We'll preview that on Wednesday.
Yep.
That's going to go a long way in determining the winner of that will essentially play for a Big 10 title against Oregon. But I think both those teams are in regardless of that game, Ohio State and Indiana.
Are they playing? It's next week.
Oh, is there a bye this week?
I guess so.
Oh, okay. So
Ohio State's playing Northwestern.
and
Indiana
Indiana
might be on a bye. I don't know.
Or you know what? No, it's because I was looking at. I know. Yeah, I think Indiana is on a bye.
Could be.
Let's see.
Must be.
Yes, they are on a bye. Well, that's actually helpful for them. Ohio State has to play Northwestern. Michigan. How about Michigan has to beat Northwestern next week to not this Saturday, the following week, just to be bowl eligible. They're 5-5, and the last game is at Ohio State. So if they don't win this game, if they don't win that game against Northwestern, they probably miss a bowl game after winning a national title, which is pretty wild. Let's see. Yeah, I mean that's about it. Penn State. We know Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana are probably all in. That's probably set. It's going to be a crazy last couple weeks. I guess technically you could make an argument if Indiana were to lose their last 2, they would be out, but they're not losing to Purdue. So
no, I would not expect that to happen.
I mean, I don't know. Looking at their schedule now, I don't know. They should get in an 11-1, but who knows? All right, that's all we got for y'all on this Monday, November 11th. Thanks for tuning into the show. Make sure if you're new to the channel, like I said, like and subscribe. Check out our Patreon. Support the channel. We got great new content coming for you. We'll have a college football preview show for you on probably Thursday morning. We'll shoot it Wednesday night. So
Happy Veterans Day.
Look out for that. Happy Veterans Day. And have a great week. We'll catch you next time.